This video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Investing involves risk, including loss of capital. Any tools or strategies mentioned do not guarantee profits or future results.
Most investors ignore small resource stocks until the government gets involved, and by then the biggest gains are already gone. That is exactly the angle Dr. Mark Skousen is pushing right now. With a $5 nickel stock, he believes could benefit from a major shift in US policy toward domestic resource production. The idea is simple, but powerful money tends to flow where the government focuses, and right now that focus is shifting towards securing critical materials like nickel, which are essential for AI, data centers, electric vehicles, defense systems, and advanced manufacturing. The Skousen Report is a macro-driven investment newsletter published by the Oxford Club, and it is built around identifying these kinds of policy-driven opportunities before they become obvious to the broader market. Each month, the service delivers one high-conviction investment idea supported by macroeconomic reasoning, along with portfolio guidance and ongoing updates, so you can track how these ideas evolve as new developments unfold. Dr. Mark Skousen brings a different perspective compared to most analysts, because his background is rooted in decades of economic research, policy analysis, and even experience working with government intelligence, which gives him insight into how decisions around resources and capital allocation are made. Over more than 40 years, he has written extensively on markets, advised investors, and built a reputation for connecting global policy shifts to real investment opportunities rather than short-term speculation. His current thesis centers on a major imbalance: the United States consumes large amounts of nickel, but produces very little while. Countries like Indonesia, Russia, and China dominate global supply, which creates both economic and national security risks. As demand for nickel continues to rise due to its role in batteries and high-performance technology, the pressure to build domestic supply increases, and this is where Skousen believes government capital could step in. If federal funding incentives or contracts begin flowing into domestic mining projects, the impact on a small U-based nickel producer could be immediate, because even a modest shift in policy can dramatically change the valuation of a small cap resource company. Skousen claims to have identified a specific company that controls significant nickel deposits in the United States and is already positioned to benefit from this trend, and he has personally invested in it, which adds another layer of conviction to his thesis. The broader strategy here is not just about one stock. It is about recognizing a pattern where strategic industries receive government backing and early investors position themselves before that support becomes widely known. Inside the Skousen Report, you get 12 monthly issues, each focused on a new opportunity, along with weekly updates that respond to policy changes, commodity price movements, and company-specific developments, so you are not left guessing when conditions shift. You also gain access to a full portfolio of recommendations, allowing you to see how multiple ideas fit into the same macro framework rather than relying on isolated picks. In addition, the service includes bonus reports focused on other strategic resources such as silver and rare earth elements, which further expand the theme of domestic supply, security, and government-driven investment flows. From a pricing perspective, the service is relatively accessible, with entry-level plans starting around $59 and going up depending on the tier, and included bonuses with a full-year money-back guarantee that allows you to evaluate the research across different market conditions. However, there are important risks to consider, because this strategy relies heavily on government action, as the primary catalyst, and policy decisions can take time to materialize or may not unfold as expected. Resource stocks, especially small cap miners, can also be highly volatile, meaning price swings can be significant, even if the long-term thesis remains intact. This is not a short-term trading strategy. It is a macro-driven approach that requires patience and a willingness to sit through uncertainty while waiting for larger structural trends to play out. Overall, the Skousen Report is less about predicting headlines and more about positioning ahead of them by following where policy, capital, and strategic priorities are moving. If Skousen is right about the shift toward domestic nickel production, this $5 stock could benefit from a powerful tailwind. But the real value lies in understanding the broader pattern, because once government-backed trends become obvious, the easiest gains are usually already behind you.